This is something that affected me a few weeks ago, a few months ago, and again a few days ago. And so I just thought maybe I'm not the only one who was affected, and maybe some people might need to hear this to give them a kind of confirmation on something that they've been thinking of doing or considering doing for a long time. I want to call this In-Phone-Mation overload, and it affects our mental health and it affects our emotional stability more than we think. We underestimate the effects of social media. You can just Google this and try to do your own research. Google about mental health and social media, the effect of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter on your mental health. Just in general, you know, when you see other people post pictures of food, pictures of what they ate, their travels, their memories, or, you know, birthday parties or whatever, and how it causes us to feel envious, or it causes us to feel, you know, a sense of lack, or a sense of a lack of fulfillment, because we end up comparing ourselves and our lives to others. And how Google talks about so much of it is fake, so much of it is edited, filters everywhere, and people usually take pictures of happy moments to disguise or hide the painful stuff in their lives. And so it's more of like an escape. And then there's the addiction to the social media affirmations, the likes, the hearts, the emojis, the loves emojis, the followers, and all of that stuff. Now, the point of social media is to have a kind of social life that helps connect you to people. And the original intention was supposedly to help create genuine connections and genuine friendships and relationships. But now it has morphed and changed into a kind of a monster. And so several weeks ago, several months ago, several days ago, it happened several times, right? I noticed that when we get into social media, we get information overload. Just a few months ago, there was a season in my news feed where all I saw was black profiles. It's when someone has a loved one, or a friend, or a relative who passed away because of, you know, whatever reason, COVID or a sickness or whatever. And, you know, I was just scrolling, and I think in a span of 1 week, I saw about 8 people on my news feed with the black profile with a candle. And it really started to make me think about my own family, my parents. I thought of my relatives who are not getting, well, none of us are getting any younger. I thought about the health conditions of my friends and my loved ones. And it really made me start to really, really worry. That's the kind of effect it can have. And then sometimes when you're overly invested in social media, I read this article about this one girl who had suicidal thoughts simply because someone used the laughing emoji on her post. So she made a very serious post about her what she was going through, something personal, and someone put a haha, a laughing emoji, and she suddenly had all these suicidal thoughts. That was, to me, eye-opening. Like, people really get affected, you know, and social media creates monsters of people in a sense that people forget that they're discussing, they're interacting with human beings on the other end of the screen. It's not just words. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You're not just talking to a bunch of digitized words and letters. There are human beings with emotions who are going through their own crap, their own problems, their own challenges, their own, you know, demons. And we have to remember that it doesn't hurt to extend that extra bit of kindness, of love, or sympathy, or compassion. You know, and sometimes we can even misinterpret things, right? Like without the emojis, the smileys, and all of that, the word choice might sound very mean and cruel when in fact you're actually smiling and loving while you're typing. So social media can have a very, very adverse effect, especially during quarantine, especially during these very challenging times. And so what I did, the solution for me, two things. several months ago, like many months ago, what I did was I stopped using Facebook until I really wanted to. So I just stopped using Facebook altogether, and the only time I would go online is if I was searching for something important, you know, something to learn, or I would look for Facebook groups that catered to my interests and the things that I was trying to develop in myself. It could be a business, it could be a hobby, you know. So I joined, let's say, when I wanted to learn about guitar, I learned Guitar for Beginners groups. When I wanted to learn about carnivorous plants, I joined carnivorous plants groups. You know, so those are very helpful because these are communities that help one another. So free diving, business, investments, whatever it is, right? That's what I use them for. Just 3 days ago, what I did was I turned off all notifications for my Facebook app. This way, I never know if someone responded, interacted, or whatever. And this gives me my mental space, my head space. And this helps me to decide for myself when I want to check my social media. Because when you get that notification on your phone, there's a tendency to be curious and you just want to know. I'm the type of person I want to know. I want to know what someone said. I want to know if someone is thinking of something. I want to know if there's an interesting thought or argument or insight that I can learn from. And this takes up mental real estate or head space. Something that's very precious nowadays, especially if you're very busy like me. I'm thinking of so many different projects and so many different kinds of ways to earn income and do business. I'm thinking of ministry, I'm thinking of church, I'm thinking of, you know, the many different aspects of life, the demands of life. And so, you know, social media is just not that important. You know, so that's what I did. I turned off all notifications of all my social media apps. So now I have a set time of the day when I open my social media, I respond to everything, then I'm done. And then I do that on a more periodic basis. That way I have control over that. So just a, you know, disclaimer or a qualifier, I'm not saying never turn on social media. It has become a really good source of actual news as well. And it's a good source for us to know what to pray for, like praying for Afghanistan, praying for the different Christians that are going through different things all over the world. But again, there are certain things we cannot change. Of course, we can do, you know, like hashtag restore the Snyderverse, hashtag, you know, make the Batfleck movie, or hashtag pray for Afghanistan, of course, or pray for the different local churches in the Muslim countries or being persecuted, you know, things like that. So we know what to pray for, we know what's happening, we know about the divorce bill being passed in the Senate for the Philippines, which is monumental and a huge deal for us. But again, these are good, but we cannot change every single thing. So try not to get too involved in so many different things that might affect you in ways that are very detrimental. Don't underestimate the effect of social media in our lives, on our mental health, on our emotional stability, and be very aware of your spiritual condition as well, because you might get totally depressed, totally hopeless, that you're no longer living with faith in Christ, and instead you're already doubting His love, His sovereignty. You're already shaking in your faith, your spiritual conditions getting weaker and getting worse, things like that. So take care of those as well. This is just more like a gentle reminder that I hope helps everyone. Use social media to have genuine connections and not to be obsessed, addicted, or controlled. God bless you guys.